Hello and welcome to the Cabin Boy and It's Woolcast, coming to you deep from the Canadian forest.
This is Christopher.
And this is the other guy,
Jamie.
We have another yarn shop to recommend, and we also have some dyeing that we're dying to share with you.
We're just back from the KW Knitters Fair, and we have a very special guest all the way from New Zealand.
And we have a giveaway, so sit back, grab your favorite drink, and we'll tell you our stories. So we've been on the road for a couple weeks, traveling.
We've been here, there, and everywhere.
Yes.
Well, not exactly, but we've been places.
We have been places. We went to the Poconos.
Yes. I almost forgot about the Poconos. It seems like ages ago already.
And the Poconos, for those of you who are not aware of where the Poconos are, they're in Pennsylvania. And it was the first time for us to be there.
I've been to Pennsylvania. Is that where I was?
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. We went for 5 days. It was a I'd say it was a mini getaway.
A mini getaway.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was gorgeous.
It was gorgeous.
Beautiful countryside. We met some friendly people along the way.
Yeah.
And we made a pit stop.
We did make a pit stop, and a trip wouldn't be a trip without making a pit stop to a yarn shop.
Like he didn't know there was one along the way. It was a surprise to me, but everything is.
Well, you know what was a surprise though? Because we were in Pennsylvania, I was checking the yarn shops around, and the one that has been on my bucket list was in New Jersey. So I figured that was going to be far away, but it was only 30 minutes from where we were.
Oh yeah, because I'm not very good at geography, but when I think New Jersey, I think New York City, and then I think New York City is way over there on the East Coast, and then we're in Pennsylvania, which I think is like a middle state. But you're right, we must have been right close to the border to New Jersey. So when he said we're driving to New Jersey, I thought, what? But it was right there.
And we went to Winterberrys Yarn store, and it was fantastic. It was everything that I was hoping it would be. It was really nice.
Well, we passed it. Oh no, we didn't pass it on the way.
No,
we passed it because we were following a little instrument called a GPS, and we went back and forth and back, and I'm like, no, it's around the bend because I saw it on our way. We passed it once already.
Yep.
But in a blink of an eye, you're through the little town. So.
Yeah. So, rather than us just rambling about it, why don't we show you it?
Exactly.
And what?
Well, Stephanie was wonderful as well.
Yes.
We'll talk more about Stephanie.
Yeah.
Have a little look-see. We are at Winterberrys Yarn Shop in Columbia, New Jersey, and it is fantastic. I'm so excited to get inside this one. This is one that I've been really wanting to see. It's been on my bucket list, and I'm so glad we have the opportunity to check it out. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. I'm Christopher. This is Jamie.
Hi. Nice to meet you. I'm Stephanie.
And where are we right now?
We are in the town of Handspot. This is Winterberrys Yarn. I am the owner of Winterberrys Yarn. I run it with my mom. She does my accounting and she's my bag maker.
Oh, awesome.
So,
Great.
Pretty neat.
This is so nice and cozy. It's really, really nice. You're getting ready for the fall, I see.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you like Halloween?
Favorite.
Favorite? Yeah,
Yes.
I could tell. This is great. Do you mind just taking us on a tour?
Sure.
That would be great.
So this rack is full of all our samples. I have a local woodworker
Oh, wow.
who made us that custom, and I mainly did a lot of shawls and not too many sweaters, so that's pretty much all shawls.
This
Maybe
is
one or two
gorgeous.
sweaters.
That is so nice.
Most of them are in our yarns. There are a couple samples that I purchased just because they were beautiful. You can knit them in any yarn, really.
That's great.
And then our pom-poms.
Real fur pom-poms. Beautiful. Gorgeous.
So back here, we have kind of a mixture. When we do trunk shows and stuff, I try and stock as much as we can, but then you get down to like one or two, so I put it in the 10% off section.
Okay.
So that's kind of like back here. We do have a lot of Malabrigo. I've been kind of getting out of the commercial yarns
Yep.
and featuring more hand-dyed indie dyers. So this is what's kind of left of that. And then we have our wall of roving.
Yes.
So we do a lot of felting
Nice.
here,
Oh, yeah.
spinning, everything. We also feature a lot of local artists, so I give up like a little space, and this is our Lavender of Love. She does jewelry and cosmetic products. We have a lot of candle makers in this area, which are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
These are intention candles, so each one comes with a card that tells you what the meaning of the candle is and the stones in it. That's from Mixed Wicks.
Very nice.
We have a little coffee bar in here.
Oh, wow.
I saw Bolton's coffee in the bag, and then I try and do a fresh pot every day because I drink most of it. And then a little bit about our yarn. We have our own line called Winterberrys Yarn. That is not dyed by me. It's actually dyed by a lady in upstate New York. Her name is Kelly Schultz. She is a fabulous dyer. She also dyes for Cece's Wool. I don't know if you're familiar with that store.
Yep.
So we have the same dyer. We talk about the colors together. We develop the colors together. We now have over 50 colors in the collection, and we add more all the time.
Fantastic.
We've been doing a color of the month every month now. So that's pretty much all the colors. I try and keep that in stock. I
Yep.
don't have it in stock in all the weights, but we have fingering weight, we have a DK worsted. It's kind of right in the middle, so it can go either way, which is really nice. And then we have a bulky. So, and then it's 8-ounce skeins. So
Oh, nice.
they're really big.
Yep.
And just great for sweaters, shawls, colorwork, whatever.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And then we're actually featuring Cece's Wool is doing a trunk show. So this is her new line with my dyer, Kelly, and they developed this American Wool yarn, and it's merino and rambouillet.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's super soft and
Oh.
squishy.
Super nice.
There are a couple samples hanging behind there, and then that scarf is also made in it.
That's great. And is this?
That's all her
Her
colors.
colors.
So they have 24 colors. They have the solid and the tweed. The tweed, I believe, is a worsted, and then the solids are DK.
Very nice.
But it's very nice and squishy. Another local indie dyer we feature is Color Wheel Yarns. She is out of New Jersey. So she does quite a few trunk shows here, so she has her own little section as well.
Yeah, this is really interesting. And then what's going on this table?
This is the table, so this is whatever's I'm working on at the moment. I just finished these fingerless mitts, which are skull fingerless mitts. Last year I started doing sock kits in the mugs. So this year I'm like, let me do the mitts kits in the mugs. So
Yep.
I've been selling them with the mug or without. You don't have to get them. The pattern is on Ravelry. It can be purchased. It's a great pattern. You could actually make them really long or
Yeah.
short because they are really long, but I love them. There's plenty of yarn to do the whole kit. And then I have other featured kits. So we have the Autumn Doodle Cow. We did that one last year. These are the spooky pumpkin mitts kits, which are fun.
Yeah, those are nice.
So they are doing well. This is the one I'm working on now. I haven't even posted it yet, but this is the lunar spine shawl. So I'm about halfway done.
Nice.
I was trying to get it done for Halloween.
That's really nice.
But it's really cute. So I'm doing inverted kits. So you could either do the purple as the background and then the sands as the moons. But I'm actually doing this one with this as the background and that as
very nice.
So those will be available. The underwings kits have been a best set. They have.
I love them.
I've probably sold over 200 kits.
Oh wow!
I mean, they're
beautiful.
It's a classic pattern. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
The color work is actually only 2 colors, and the orange is done with a duplicate stitch, which is really unique and different. So you don't have to do a 3-color. But
very
no,
nice.
they've been doing great. And then behind you, I have more local artists. Yep. We have Candles, Current Concept. She's a local, and her candles are awesome. They smell great. We have a local honey person. I make some teas and stuff. And then that's just another kit we have that's goes with the autumn doodle. That's the holiday doodle.
Very nice.
Right. So this is my section. Whatever's left, it's kind of a mismatch. But I try and do shop updates here and there. And then at my Handspot section. Good.
So what's going on this wall?
Alright, so these are my Handspots. I actually did most of these before I even opened. So when I opened my store, I was a spinner. I didn't even know how to knit.
They are beautiful. They're really nice.
That's how my love of the yarn industry started, because I was just fascinated by spinning yarn, and I was making all these yarns. I'm like, how am I going to use these? So I taught myself how to knit with one of those learn to knit books.
Yes.
And it was over from there. So
yeah, this is really
interesting. Yeah, most of those are before my store.
Gorgeous.
I do try and keep them updated here and there because I do sell quite a few too. So when the wall gets empty, I get to spinning.
Yeah. So I noticed the table. Do you use that for knitting classes or anything like that?
Yeah. Right now we just got back from vacation, so it's not that full. But this is actually my order pile. Plus, I'm still pulling from there. Because I did a shop update while we were on vacation.
Oh, geez.
So, yeah, a lot of that will be emptied. I have a couple knitting groups that get together here. Mondays, even though we're not open, I have a private group that just talk to me about coming, and I use that day as my shipping day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I'm here, I don't mind. So they come every Monday, which is pretty cool.
I noticed something really interesting outside.
Yeah.
The yarn library.
Yes.
That is fantastic. So tell me about that.
Okay, so that, my mom actually got me that cart for Christmas one year. We're into the very country primitive decor, and I just was never using it. So our woodworker that made the rack, I'm like, why don't you make it into a fiber library? Because I saw those, the free libraries that people are doing. And I saw somewhere in Canada or something, they did a fiber library. I'm like, that would be awesome. So that's what we did. We were getting a lot of donations, and I just try and keep it filled. I know it is outside, so I tell everyone to bag it in plastic so that, it doesn't get bugs or anything. But it's been going really good, and we're actually going to have a yard sale coming up in 3 weeks for Blairstown's doing their town-wide. So we're going to participate and do it with yarn because I have tons of donation yarn to do.
Oh, that's terrific.
That'll be fun.
And where does the name come from?
The name? Okay, so about 12 years ago, we did have another store. It was a gift store. That's why a lot of it's kind of mixed gifts and yarn. Mm-hmm. So our name of our store was Winterberrys Yarn, or it was Winterberrys Gifts. So we just wanted to kind of bring it back.
Yep.
So me and my mom love winter. That's our favorite thing. Snow.
I love winter as well.
I hate summer.
So where can people find you?
We are. Do you mean the store or the online?
Both.
Okay, so we are online. We are winterberriesyarn.com. Pretty much everything Megaberries related, kit related, I post online. I do not have all the gifts and all the individual yarns, but if it's a big, mainly just our Megaberries line and what I dye. It's posted on there.
Yeah.
I don't sell the needles online yet because it's just a lot.
Yes.
But if you're coming to our store, we are located in Handspot. It's actually a Columbia address, so it's 468 Route 94, Columbia, New Jersey.
Great. And are you also on the Insta world and
I am. I'm on
Facebook?
Instagram and Facebook.
Oh, great.
So you can follow us. It's Winterberrys Yarn 2017 on Instagram, and I think just Winterberrys Yarn for Facebook.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story
Thank
and
you.
the store.
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, we really enjoyed it. Stephanie was so wonderful, and one of the secrets, I don't know if it's a secret, but I wanted to share with you is Stephanie, when we were communicating back and forth, she said she's not entirely comfortable in front of the camera. She was amazing. She was so good.
Oftentimes they say that, and maybe, it's true, she's not in front of, and then she just got into, it's like, well, because I said, well, you just do what you just did now. She started talking about the yarn and the place and the store and how she acquired it and all of that, and I said, no, you just do just exactly what you did, because it's stuff you know your stuff, you know your yarn, you know your shop, and she was just, she has a problem.
One thing I love about yarn shops, certain yarn shops, is when you walk in, their personality is there.
Absolutely.
And I love when you can see the personality of the owner. And she and her mother ran a gift shop. And it was so obvious when you walked in. It was just, everything was so beautifully displayed.
Well, did they run a gift shop, or it was a gift shop before she turned it into a yarn shop?
But they worked in a gift shop.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
I missed that part.
Yeah. Well, you were filming.
I was probably doing the camera, and I'm focusing on one thing, literally focusing. And what I took from it, like you said, when you walked in, it's like in this beautiful, historic, great big house, which looks like it was always that type of a general store. The steps up, the big veranda with the pillars, and she had all sorts of things on the veranda in the windows, as you saw. But just stepping up in front of it is just had that sense of history.
It did.
And then going in, it's like going into a country store. The walls, the ceilings, if they could speak to you. And sometimes at night, she said they do speak to you. Because people have been around in there off and on.
Yeah.
So that part of it was fascinating.
It was a big space too. It was really nice. It was beautifully laid out, and lots of local dyers. I thought were terrific too. So I love that store.
And she mentioned the main, and it's great because as soon as you walked in, there was that big long harvest table, and that's like the primary focus. Because she says they switch that up and switch it around seasonally, and it was it Halloween coming up?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, which she mentioned. Remember, she mentioned Halloween and the connection with Halloween. It's a big deal there.
Yes.
You don't remember?
Yes. Friday the 13th. Isn't that what you're going to reference?
Exactly.
Yeah, and the neighboring town.
Yeah, they did a lot of the filming. The filming when they're running through the park like right around the little lake, which we went up and about and around, and that we would have seen in there as well.
Yeah.
We went up to the lake, and we went to the lake prior to. Didn't we see the lake before? We actually went to the town.
We did, yeah. We didn't know about the Friday the 13th.
Yeah, we had no idea, but here we were. We thought, oh, this is pretty. We didn't know people were getting murdered left, right, and center just, some years prior on film, pretend.
But you know what? I was getting the sideways slits when I was sitting on the wall knitting.
Were you?
The locals were walking by and giving me the wondering what we were doing. What's that dude doing sitting on the wall knitting?
They were probably thinking, that's where that little college couple got. That's what what they're thinking last time they saw someone sitting on that wall.
It was a cute little town, though, too.
Yeah, it was a fantastic little town.
Yeah.
So back to the store.
I loved it.
It was great. She was wonderful, and she had, like everything, some of the sit-ins were on hold, but she had a whole little. It was almost a whole little cafe set up on the other side.
Oh yeah, you went into the cafe to help
she set
yourself
up
for a
herself
coffee.
to a coffee.
Yeah, and then you couldn't find the refrigerator.
The refrigerator was camouflaged behind a fake print of yarn. So I'm looking for the fridge. She says, it's just there on the right, and I'm like.
Yeah, it was camouflaged.
There ain't no fridge in here. Let's see. Oh, that's a pretty printed. Oh, that's a pretty yarn pattern.
Yeah.
Whatever. Remember the colors? And that was the refrigerator. She thought it was an ugly fridge, so she thought she'd, dress it up with the yarn, and that's why I didn't think it was a refrigerator.
Yeah, it was great. So highly recommend.
Yeah, and it's worth the trip to. There is a main road, and the main highway will take you to a lot of places.
And I'll put all the details on the show notes as well.
That's why it's strategically a location she mentioned who comes through it and who comes by, and it's a very popular store.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so we talked a lot about the store, but are you forgetting something? Because I think you didn't leave the store empty-handed.
Yeah, while you were filming the store, I was shopping, and I also did some pre-shopping online. And I didn't buy anything, but I was just window shopping online, and then I knew what I wanted to buy once I was in there.
And also on the way out, remember the highlight too, which was really cool. Not necessarily a highlight, but a really interesting point was the library thingy.
Yes.
The library card, which she said it was an old-fashioned something or other, and she turned it into like your... What do you call
Like a
that
wool
kind of-
exchange.
like a wool exchange, like
Yeah.
those library exchange where you could, leave a book, take a book.
Yeah.
It's like leave a skein, take a skein, which was really a very good idea. And you picked up a thing or two.
I picked up some spooky pumpkin mitts.
Spooky.
Yeah, and it's dyed by Winterberrys Yarn. So they're fingerless gloves. And the colors are really nice. The colors are very,
Oh, the
very
colors are gorgeous.
autumny.
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 Halloweeny.
Halloweeny. Halloweeny autumny. Do you want to hold those up? And I'll just...
Sure. We'll probably put up a close-up photo of those. I don't know. They never come up. We're so far away. We need new technology. We need that up above camera that makes everything beautiful and pop right in front of your very eyes.
Yeah.
But in our case, we'll put a visual up.
So how would you say that name?
Oh my gosh. Are you going to make me? Oh, I don't have my glasses.
Don't make me read that. Is that what you're going to say?
What? Cat
In a sweater.
How do you say that? It's cat in a
I
sweater.
know, but it's all one word.
Cat in a sweater.
I would know.
Cat in a sweater.
I was looking at
How else?
Katina's
Katina.
Katina's sweater. Katina's
sweater.
weeder. Yeah, that cat in a sweater.
Katina sweater.
So it's called Spooky Pumpkin Mitts by Cat in a Sweater.
No, it's Katina.
It's Katina Wetter.
Katina sweater.
Oh my gosh.
She'll be okay. She'll be okay. Why are you doing me? You just had a Jamie moment.
I had a Jamie moment.
Okay,
It's
so-
a Jamieism.
More about the other guy.
Oh my
later.
gosh, it's contagious.
It's Jamie and the other guy.
And then I just happened to buy another
Another cat in a bag. Cat in a sweater.
This is for the pattern, I don't think is in here. This is for gloves for my daughter.
Okay. And they were
Yeah.
were they the fingerless?
Yes.
They're very similar. Very
Yeah.
similar to the Katina sweater, but
Yeah.
it's fingerless gloves, which is very similar.
Oh, and then I bought, this is, of course, for a couple of things. One,
Ooh.
8 ounce. I love 8 ounce.
That's big.
Terrific. It's
all about
fantastic.
big.
And you're such a size queen.
Well, it says mega berries. Mega.
It's mega
Do you remember
berries,
that word when
8
mega was
ounce.
everything
Yes.
was mega?
That's true.
Like my mega hair products and stuff.
And your mega 80s hair and your mega shoulder pads.
I did have a jacket. That was the style. I did, the jackets with the shoulder pads? 'Cause
Yes.
I was very slender at the shoulders, but never mind.
But you had mega shoulders
I had mega
in the
shoulders.
80s and mega volume
tip.
of hair.
And tell us more about the mega berry yarn.
Superwash merino worsted weight. It's called Summer Lovin', and it's by Winterberrys Yarn. It's great. I love the colors.
It's very similar to some of the colors we've done, but the way this is done, there's got to be a dozen shades and a dozen colors throughout. It's gorgeous. That's a lot of weight.
Yeah. And then I thought I was finished shopping until I happened upon...
And then what did you see?
And then I happened upon Meadow U Farms, Salem,
Meadow U?
New York. Yeah.
What does that even mean? Meadow U. I'm going to Meadow U.
E-W-E.
Meadow U Farm.
Yes. And it's Gotland Merino. 80%
Yeah.
Gotland, 20% Merino, and it is beautiful.
And you know how I feel about Gotland. I even knitted a sweater once.
And once a long time ago, you finished a sweater.
That Gotland,
But you have another
sweater
one.
is practically a rag now.
And
I've
so
still not worn it.
the two sheep that contributed to this are Kayla and Kendra.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's beautiful. Really nice. So we'll have to check out Meadow U Farm as well one day.
Yeah, well, it's great because, like she said, it's local, right?
Yeah.
Some of the locals. So, Salem, New York.
Yeah. So it was fantastic. Just to recap on that store, I love the store. I love the layout. The lighting was great. And
Stephanie was wonderful.
Stephanie was so
she's a
nice
sweetie.
and knowledgeable about all of her products,
Yes.
which is so important.
And what's lovely is she does have a space upstairs, which she says is quite. You can imagine this big old home, and on the third floor having this huge, substantial place.
Yeah.
Where she helps her mom is upstairs oftentimes, and she takes care of her grandma, which is very special.
Yeah.
To her, and it was a very special shared story with us. So that was very lovely as well.
Absolutely, and Stephanie's so wonderful, and
Yes.
she's great in front of the camera as well. So
Thank you, Stephanie.
thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, that was great. And highly, highly recommend it. I'll put all the contact information.
Winterberries Yarn.
Yeah, in our.
Who's having a Jamie moment again?
in our show notes.
Down there.
Down there. Okay. Next up is. Do you want to talk about the dyeing that we've been doing? We've been dyeing to show you our dyeing, and we've been doing a lot of dyeing in our new workshop, which is good. We've been spending hours and hours and hours.
Did you love it?
I love. I actually want.
I can't even find you in the morning.
There.
I'm usually up first thing in the morning. You have been wanting to sleep out there.
Yes.
But I get up and I'm like, where's Christopher? And he's already made his way to the shop because he loves it in there.
Well, if you're looking for me, you just have to find out where the dog
Well, I
is.
whistled and the dog comes. Now I whistle and I might see his face. And
Zan, are you sleeping?
Oh, he's on my feet.
He's sound asleep. Okay, maybe he'll pop up a little later. So why don't we get the yarn that we're going to talk about?
Okay.
Okay. But we also have to talk about, this is all linked. We're going to talk about the flowers.
Yes.
And we can't talk about the flowers without talking about the yarn.
Right.
Or vice versa.
So,
Okay.
what should we start with? The color of the sheep.
Let's talk about the flowers firstly.
So what do we have here?
So this episode is proudly presented to you by Goldenrod. Goldenrod is bursting, exploding everywhere right now. It is one of my favorite times of the year. And this is definitely, Goldenrod is one of my favorite plants to dye with. I love dyeing with goldenrod.
And it's a beautiful time of year because we get that warm weather, not too hot, but it's still in the 20s, which would be in the low 80s, or late high 70s.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful time to be out there picking that along the country roads, and it's just our drive back home yesterday. It was everywhere. You could just see it from afar because it's so golden.
We didn't even have to see it from afar, though. It was right outside of
right,
our window,
right
car
there.
window.
But along the highway, you could spot it anywhere because there were fields
everywhere.
and fields of this
Yeah.
bright gold in the sunshine, and that's why it's called goldenrod.
Yes.
And the color that you get from it, you can get a deep on white. You would get a deep, deep golden yellow. It's beautiful.
So we've been using that a lot in our dyeing lately. And so you just explained the color. Why doesn't this yarn look like the color that you just explained?
Well, it's yellow, and it's still a very golden yellow, but it's on top of the BFL massum.
Yes, which
So
is not white when you dye with it.
Exactly. So it has this shady undertone, which is a beigey gray. And we've talked about BFL, we've talked about massum. So this is 75% BFL, 25% massum. The BFL goes back to the 1700s. It's a blue-faced sheep with a long wool, and the massum is a combination of Teeswater and Swaledale, which we've dyed some Swaledale.
We have.
Which is we're going to have coming up. We don't have it here. And the Teeswater, long wool sheep, long luster staples, and that is part of the massum. We did massum in the past. The massum comes from they have the town of Massum in Great Britain, and they have an annual huge annual festival. We talked about how the massum sheep and the entire industry and the economy is based on this wonderful massum yarn. So we have all of these colors, other than the goldenrod.
And I love dyeing this yarn for a number of reasons. So I'm really, really, really excited right now about going through this and dyeing with this base, because the BFL picks up the yarn beautifully, and when you finish dyeing with it, it looks like it's tweed-like.
Very much so.
And it's just it's so lovely to dye with.
Well,
and
you've already decided you're going to do a sweater in this.
Well, no. So here, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the tea on this one.
Oh, well.
Okay, so I started with this color, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. So this color is goldenrod, and then I put it in indigo, but I didn't expose it to indigo for very long. And I absolutely love the color. I got really excited, was ready to crank out a sweater in it, and then this one came along.
So every time he does it, he goes, oh my gosh, that's my favorite. And then he tries something else. Okay, that is my new favorite. And now,
so now I'm going to use this one as a sweater.
Favorite.
And so I'm going to use this in combination. I think I'm going to take our sumac, which is out right now, and dye sumac, and then I'm going to have both of them in one sweater.
Okay, because the sumac gives a beautiful silver gray.
Yes.
It's wonderful to dye with. It's out everywhere. It's just a matter of stepping out the backyard and down the road and picking up the sumac, and that will make a great sweater combination.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm
The
really
blue
excited
will
about
really
that.
make my eyes pop because one size fits all.
Oh, excuse it. Are you...
I can't wait for him to knit that sweater.
I guess you're saying that you're knit-worthy. Is that right? Well,
No,
you'd be right.
I know that.
Definitely
I know that
knit-worthy.
when I see it on the shelf and you're not wearing it, I know that it could possibly fit me.
Yeah, my shoes, my sweaters, my coat, everything.
It goes both ways. It goes both ways. But oftentimes, though, I have to say, he's not. We have different styles. So it's like, I'm not wearing that, but it looks great on you. Oh, okay.
Well, I purposely chose a black T-shirt today because you were wearing pink, and I know you didn't want me to wear stripes.
Oh.
And I would never wear horizontal stripes right now anyway. But I chose the black to complement.
And I've said before, Christopher is slightly bigger and brawnier than I am, so broader shoulders, and so his sweaters are slightly, because he has broader
Sure,
shoulders.
we'll go with that.
We'll do that.
We'll
I
go
can
with
still
that.
wear it.
So you want to talk about this one?
Sure.
Do you want to talk about this
Well,
one?
no, you talk about the colors because I've said plenty about the wool.
So we are off to Prince Edward Island
Yes.
for a festival. We may have mentioned it a few dozen times on the show.
It's on the East Coast.
Yes.
I've never been. Have you been to Prince Edward Island?
Yes, I was 9 years old the last time I was there.
Just a few decades ago.
A couple decades ago.
A few.
Sure.
We're not going.
Yeah, a few. Yeah, sure.
And so, and the reason for the coloring?
The sand in Prince Edward Island. So we thought that we would dye this the color of the sand.
And that's what they're known for. They're known for their potatoes, but they're red earth,
Yes.
which is very rich soil for growing the potatoes everywhere. But the beaches are this color. And
Yeah.
if you Google the island, you'll see these red beaches.
Google it. Yes.
This, and again, you colored this over this BFL Massam, and
Yeah.
we were trying out the red, and then
Love this color.
wanted to come up with a color combination, and when this came out, it's like, oh my gosh, could you not match it up more perfectly to the beaches of Prince Edward Island?
It's like a darker shade of Anne of Green Gables' hair. And maybe she'll pop up as well.
She
at the
may make
festival.
an appearance sometime.
I think
we'll
she's going
see
to.
her. They have the Anne of this, the Anne of that, the Anne of Green Gables festival every year. That play, I think that show goes on
I'm sure
year
it does.
round.
Absolutely. I'm sure it
I
does.
have friends through the generations who all, when they're starting out in theater, everybody goes to PI and does Anne of Green Gables.
Yep.
So we have to catch that show.
So that's our dyeing of the BFL Massam, and really excited about it. And it's sweater weather right now.
It's
sweater
sweater
weather.
to start.
And
Well-
it will be by the time we finish this sweater.
When we get to the East Coast,
It might
it's
be
gonna be-
summer. But
when I finish my sweater, it may
no,
be
you'll be
spring.
finished. You just need to focus. You will be finished your sweater by Christmas.
Well, what about?
That's a fair.
I thought I needed a new sweater for our other event coming up.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck with
But
that.
2 people said I can do it. Now it's changed to Christmas. Okay.
Well, you just have to. I'm not going to go there in this episode.
Who says I
We'll
can't?
do-
Who
we'll
says
do a
I
whip-
can't make a crop top out of it?
Oh, you could absolutely. You could do a Shania Twain crop top on that,
Absolutely.
and Daisy Duke shorts and your cowboy boots,
And I
you'll
could,
be all
wear
set.
that. I could wear that apron underneath that has the ab formation photo.
Sure.
So then, when you see
Yep.
my abs, it'll be like, "Whoa,
Yep.
that one's got an 8-pack, not a
Perfect.
6-pack."
What were you saying about our style aesthetic? Where it's a little
Oh
bit.
gosh, you're right. Different.
Anyway, so this is the dyeing that we've been doing, and it is great sweater yarn, and I can't wait to knit a sweater with it. I'm really excited about that.
I love the earthy tones, and even just those combinations combined would make a beautiful sweater.
Yep, definitely. Okay, so drum roll.
What's next?
Do we have someone special to invite
Yes,
on the episode?
we do.
Okay. Are you going to do a drum roll?
It's James.
James, or was James, welcome to Canada and welcome to the cabin.
Thanks for having me here, and I should say tēnā kōrua to both of you, which is hello to two people, and tēnā koutou katoa to everybody out there. That's a little bit of a greeting in te reo Māori, which is the native language of New Zealand.
Okay.
Oh, fantastic.
Because I was going to ask you that because I thought, what does that even mean? I wasn't know that you had like another tongue.
Well, we have
Oh wait, let's not go there.
we have three official languages in New Zealand. One is English.
Uh-huh.
We call it English, although it sounds very different with my accent and how I talk so fast.
Don't worry, we'll have subtitles.
And there is Māori, which is or te reo Māori, which is the language of the native people of New Zealand.
Yep.
And our third official language is actually New Zealand Sign Language.
Oh, wow, that's great. Fantastic.
Okay.
That's terrific. So, do you learn, do they teach that in school or
Yes.
any of that? Like, how many languages do they teach in school?
Oh, well, it depends which school you go to, but I was fortunate. I was born in Rotorua, which is a bit of a tourist capital city where a lot of Maori people live. So in primary school level, we were just taught lots of basic words. So I know a reasonable amount of the language, but I'm certainly not fluent in it. And I'm not Maori myself, but I've got cousins who are part Maori. So for me, it's about respecting the people around you and learning bits and pieces of the language just to be supportive and to let the language live and breathe.
Fantastic.
Isn't that something we could learn here in Canada? Because
Yeah.
that's not something you would think about. But even that cultural tradition is taught, even if it's just somewhat taught, it's there and keeping that culture alive, even within every new child that's going through the school system. Maybe they could do that in Canada.
It's a contentious issue in New Zealand as well, because some schools are open and welcoming, and so the parents, and some parents are reluctant.
Sure.
But yeah, I think we'll win. We have Maori Language Week to keep the language alive, and lots of initiatives to keep it going. So it's good.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, there's 2 islands. Where are you?
I am now at the bottom part of the North Island, which is our most populated island. I had previously spent the last 4 years living down in Dunedin, which is the second largest city in our South Island. But last year, with a few things happened in my life, I decided to move back to the North Island. So I'm enjoying life in the country outside our capital city.
So you're flip-flopping.
I flip-flop all the time. I've got this.
That's what I heard about you.
I've got this wandering spirit. I live somewhere for 4 or 5 years and get bored, and my feet need to move again. So I like moving around.
And the wandering spirit is moved along here, there, and everywhere in the past short while.
It has. I've treated myself to a trip of a lifetime, basically, I'm calling it. I had a special birthday a couple of years ago, but the world was a different place and I was restricted from travelling. So last year I wanted to launch off again, but I was sick in hospital for my birthday. So, so this year it is my delayed 50th birthday, and I have gone on a
50?
50, yeah.
James, you don't look a day over, what is it?
45.
Before 50.
In New Zealand we have a sales tax, so we describe our ages as I'm 35 plus GST.
Jamie will be using that one.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because I thought GST was only in Canada.
Oh, do you call it GST here?
Yes.
Yes.
In the UK it's VAT, but yeah, in New Zealand it's goods and services tax, so it's
Oh,
GST.
GST and HST, we've got 2. But
Yeah.
the GST is the one that's kind of like why.
But no, AGST, in terms of ageism with the name. But yeah, so to treat myself for my birthday, since I couldn't do anything at the time, I've done a big trip overseas. So I've linked it to lots of things I wanted to do, and gosh, we have this song that goes, I've been everywhere, man, and I feel like I've done that through parts of Europe that I haven't been to before. So
Is that a Kylie Minogue song?
No, it's not. It's a John Hall Grinnell song, a country singer. But,
and I feel there's
yeah.
a lot of wool-related something or other along the way.
But don't get me started on Kylie songs, because I could have a
I
song for
know.
everything. So I'll calm down, because I know not all of your fans are Kylie fans, but they should be. But yes, yarn related was a big focus of the trip, and it was also about meeting lots of people in person for the first time that I've met through my knitting and yarn adventures in the past,
That's
or that I've
fantastic.
known online. So again, meeting you two in the flesh for the first time has been a lot of fun.
This is right, because that was the connection, the yarn connection,
Yeah.
which is a global thing. It's a global thing.
It is. It makes the world smaller, brings people closer together, and it's a shared experience of yarn in different countries and how we all love it and how we do things differently, which I enjoy.
Yeah, and I find it crazy because it's like you're over there. We've talked to you via, electronically. If you want to say it that way.
Yeah.
On the social network. That's
So other than driving with Jamie in the car, what were some of the other highlights of the trip?
You're so mean. He loved it. We exchanged stories.
We learned a term as well. What was it called? The Jesus handle? Is that what it's called?
Oh, the Jesus handle.
The handle in the car, when you're a less confident passenger in a vehicle, you sometimes hand instinctively goes up. And I was taught as a child it's called the Jesus handle because you're closer to God when you're hanging on to it.
So Jamie, now you're blushing.
Because I think his arm was up often in March
No, it
driving.
wasn't.
I noticed it because once you mentioned the Jesus handle on the way back from our travels, when this one was driving, I didn't see as much Jesus handle action.
I know nothing, I know nothing, I know nothing.
Okay, so what were some of the
Back to
highlights
trip.
of your trip?
Back to the trip.
Yes.
I started off by going to Amsterdam. And I had wanted to go to a festival that's held there once every 10 years in the Netherlands, and it's called Floriade. And it's an eco, horticultural, floral festival, and it's held once every 10 years. And my mum and I were meant to go there 10 years ago, but unfortunately she got unwell about a month before our trip, so we had to cancel the trip because she wasn't allowed to travel that far. So for me, I was Googling earlier this year, when is the next Floriade? And it was this year. So I thought, this is the year I travel.
Fantastic.
So I booked to go to that. And at the same time, I met a great friend called Dutch Yarn. It's Jan, but it's pronounced Yarn, which is a fantastic name to have for a knitter, a yarn person.
Yeah.
So I finally got to meet him after knowing him online for 15 years. And I had a wonderful day at the Rijksmuseum with him and meeting his partner, Jos. So that was the first meeting with people. I then headed up to Denmark and met my friend Dennis, who lives on the island of Bornholm off the coast of between Denmark and Sweden. Had a great time catching up with him. He's another knitter I've known for ages. And just going into like an island nation almost, or an island, it was beautiful because it's smaller scale, didn't have the large numbers, but just experiencing another country, because it's been 10 years since I left my own country, so it's just great seeing how the world has changed and what's happening at the moment. From there I went to Stockholm. Had a great time there. My hotel was just by the old town, so I got to walk through these cobbled streets for buildings that were hundreds of years old.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
In New Zealand, being a young nation, our oldest buildings are barely 200 years old. So seeing these
Very
buildings,
similar to here then.
yeah.
With
Again,
history.
a former colony and that history that we have of architecture. But the highlight for me there was meeting my friend Eva Asplund, the designer who's released a couple of books. I've known him for almost 20 years online, and we've always communicated and shared birthday presents and Christmas gifts. So to meet him in person and for him to give me an insider's guide to Stockholm and Djurgården, the island where a lot of museums are, was really special. From there, I popped across to the UK and stayed with my friend Sam, who is Nathan Taylor Songwritician's sister. So another yarn connection for people, although I'd met her before because I hosted her and Nathan on a tour of New Zealand about 4 years ago. And from there, I zipped up to Scotland. I've got some Scottish ancestry, so I popped up there for the Edinburgh military tattoo, which is non-fibre related. But
And it's interesting because tattoo is what it's called.
It is, yeah.
And you knew that?
Yes.
I didn't know what it was, but I saw the photo, so but I'd never heard that term before.
It's interesting. Scottish has a history of the bagpipes, and you know a piper. New Zealand has the largest number of pipers per head of population of any country in the world. We've got more than Scotland.
Wow.
We've got a proud Scottish heritage of immigration into New Zealand, and so we've got lots of successful pipers. Our New Zealand Army Band are also world famous for their performances, and they're a highlight every year at the tattoo. So this was the first year back for the tattoo, and I thought, when I googled the dates I was away, it's like, wow, it's on when I can be there. So I booked tickets.
So I'm so confused about the tattoo because I thought the tattoo is the performance. So you mentioned the bagpipe, and that's the tattoo. But they're just a part of the tattoo. What is the tattoo? The festival is called. Is that another word for festival? I'm not.
Outside Edinburgh Castle, it's set up, so it's a big staged event.
Yes,
it becomes a mini theatre.
Yes.
And it's just, it's called the Military Tattoo, and it's mainly inviting military nations from around the world with their performance bands. So they come and do a performance. So it's a whole series of artists that then perform. Normally, the there was an American contingent there this time, and they had 3 of their female singers reenacting the Andrews sisters.
Wow!
Then they had some of their riflemen just doing those amazing moves that are in unison and sequence, doing all sorts of flips and tricks and jumps and throwing with their rifles. The New Zealand Army Band sing songs and play, but they also march in formation and do different tricks and moves. And the New Zealand Army Band would just they sang a Maori song for the start. Then they did all sorts of ones like Delilah, which is a huge popular song in Great Britain, and then Robbie Williams' Let Me Entertain You. It was just a whole, and there's even a song from Rocky Horror Picture Show that they put in there as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's just kind of like, so I mean, it was really
gosh. Is that the
eclectic.
camp content for the whole thing?
Absolutely, and this is why the New Zealand Army Band is always so popular at these events.
Oh my, that's great. That's so great.
And the night that my friend Sarah and I went to it was actually filmed, but I don't think they put the cameras on me, unfortunately, so I can't charge a royalty to recoup the cost of going. But anyway. And then, so after a weekend in Edinburgh, it was Fringe Festival too, so it was exciting.
Oh my gosh. Which is world renowned.
Yeah, and all different events happening the whole time. The streets were packed with people, which just made it so exciting and a wonderful place to be. But while I was there, I popped to a yarn store called Ginger Knits. Have you heard of that?
Only from you.
Right, okay. It must be the tiniest yarn store in the world, and the yarn is just packed, and it's almost like a 20-foot high ceiling, and there's shelves all the way to the top, and there are commercial yarns on one side, and then the woman who owns it dyes under her own label Ginger Knits, so the other wall is just all her product.
Oh wow.
And they have the hanks all out, totally loose, so you can
Nice.
see the entire colours, and when you purchase something, they then put it into a hank for you, and it's all looking sweet when you go out the door. It was delightful. When I went in, there was a young girl from Denmark there looking for some items, and her boyfriend was there, and with the sales associate that was there was no room for me in the shop. It was that small.
That's small. Oh my
So
gosh.
we were like virtually dancing,
Okay.
and the boyfriend sort of said, "Oh, I'll wait outside," and it's like, right, I was in, and and I was looking, and I was fondling, and I've of course made a few purchases.
Fantastic.
And did you bring any purchases with you?
I have actually had to send some mail back to New Zealand because my suitcase cannot fit the purchases that I've made.
And you may have left some
That makes
behind
sense.
before coming to the cabin.
Yes, but a little bit later I can show you what I bought at the Yarn Fest we went to yesterday.
Awesome.
Okay.
But before we do that,
Yeah, you had.
you were in Ireland. Weren't you in Ireland?
Yes, because the
You're
highlight of
forgetting a little highlight of your.
after Scotland, I then popped down to London and spent time with my friend Sarah at her place and did all the touristy things there.
And shared yarn connection?
No, we just worked together in New Zealand many years ago. And
I don't
Sarah,
understand.
she's just an amazing friend I've had for almost 30 years. So
That's wonderful.
and she has a flat in London, so I don't have to pay for a hotel. So, but it's so much more than that, Sarah.
Well,
Because I love you
like
to
I say,
bits,
you take it around. You've known her for 30 years, and hi, I'm in town. Yeah, you're going to get together.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we had a great time. And she went to Buckingham Palace and did that tour. So it was just wonderful living that time. London is quite big for me. There's too many people, so I'm more of a small town guy,
Okay.
so I like other
Well, there ain't
things.
no people here, so you're
Yeah.
stuck with the two
Small
of us.
town like Toronto.
Yeah. Okay, size is an issue here. But after England, it was popping across to Ireland. And I've got a little bit of Irish ancestry, and my big treat to myself was a 10-day knitters tour of Ireland.
A 10-day knit
That sounds
tour.
fantastic.
10-day knitters
How
tour of
wonderful would
Ireland. Yeah.
that? I'm talking to the cup, sorry. How wonderful would
Did
that
it
have
answer
been?
you?
I know, but I was hearing an echo, and I was like,
It gurgled and it bubbled up to the
It
top.
was disturbing.
Yeah. So we arrived in Dublin, and we just started a 10-day tour. Well, it was actually 11 days because it was 10 nights. And we had a day of exploring Dublin, doing touristy things like the Book of Kells and just exploring the city, which was lovely. And then we went to a beautiful yarn store there, which some people may have heard of, called This Is Knit. And it's just in a beautiful heritage building. You walk up this flight of stairs. It's a grand palatial staircase, like a scaled down Irish version of Gone with the Wind. Going up a grand
Oh,
staircase.
my
Okay.
It was one of the grand buildings that a wealthy family had, and it's been turned into, instead of like a tenement building for accommodation, it's become this beautiful space where there's an arcade of shops. And This Is Knit is one of them. And outside the shop, you've got this row of tables that connect to a cafe that's down there as well. So we had our workshop with the shop owner there overlooking this beautiful area and the stone, and like we're doing the workshop, and like we're doing the workshop, we're kind of like, we want to go into the store, we want to see what's there, we need to buy things that are in the store. So we had to wait the 3 hours of the workshop to finish before we cleaned out their stock.
And was her name Scarlett? I have to know.
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
no. I mean, if I was have to have a name, green. It's always my favourite colour. So just call
Green.
me Kakariki, which is the Maori name for green.
Excellent. And you saw some weavers?
We moved further on from Dublin. We went along the Donegal coast, and then we went out to the Aran Islands. And this is where I'm blonde. I'm a natural blonde, and I quite often confuse myself. And when I looked at the itinerary, I saw Aran Islands. I thought, this is a tour of Ireland. Why are we going to Scotland?
Oh,
Because there
Oh.
are Aran Islands in Scotland.
right.
But for those that like a little bit of a tipple, you know that whiskey is in Ireland and whiskey's in Scotland, but the Irish spell whiskey with an E, and the
Yes.
Scots do not.
The same as in Canada.
Yeah. The Scots spell their Aran Islands with two R's, and the Irish have one R, and in some spellings there's two N's.
So you didn't know
Okay.
where you were.
Well, I
Is
discovered
that what
that. Well, I've got Scottish
What's-
ancestry and Irish ancestry, so I was going to be happy whichever island we went to.
Yeah.
But was it 1 hour or 2 hours?
It was the one R in Ireland.
Okay.
That sometimes
Now I
has.
know- now I know where you
that
were.
sometimes has two.
I know where
N's.
you were now.
Yeah, I was in Ireland.
The 1 hour.
Because it was an Irish tour.
Yeah. So we launched off into the island, and we had a beautiful workshop there as well, where we were working on cable stitches.
That's something
Oh.
I don't know how to do yet. And everybody says, and you've already said it to me, because everyone says, it's really easy. That's always what you get.
One stitch at a time.
Yep.
Follow
You only
some-
have a
just
pattern
gotta
repeat.
follow the thingy, and you
Yeah.
get the thingy, a cable.
Everyone likes a thingy.
Yes.
But when you're doing a
Me
cable,
especially.
when you're doing a cable, it's a repeat set number of rows. So it's one row you have to really concentrate on to get
Do
it
you have
right.
to count?
Yeah, of course you count.
Oh.
and then you've got multiple rows where it's just reading the stitches in front of you and just it's
Yeah.
plain knitting. I'll show you
I'm
one
already
day.
lost. See what I'm saying? But
No.
like you say, if you learn it, it's like you say, you learn it, you do it,
Yeah.
and you did a workshop, and then now you get it. It's.
Yeah.
I think it's just as when it clicks,
Mm.
and you see and you count,
Yeah.
and it's always
Yeah.
just repeat.
Yeah.
Click, count, repeat.
Something like that. We actually did a pattern that was a chain stitch. It looked like a.
What did you make?
It's like a chain
Chain
stitch.
No, before that,
I've made lots of things before
a
that.
pattern.
Oh, a pattern. Is this my accent again?
I'm just teasing. I'm just happy.
The pattern that we followed was
Yes.
from the workshop leader's grandmother had designed several years ago, and it was like the chains that you see on the side of ships. So you had the
Oh.
you had the curves going up,
Oh.
and then another one going there.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
So it was almost like a really 3D interpretation of a chain.
That
so
was really cool.
and you need two cable needles when you do it. So that was new for me because
Oh.
normally
Yeah.
I wanted cable stitches. It's just one cable needle.
Okay,
Right,
that's just getting crazy.
This was advanced. This was
Crazy.
advanced. But you also
Or
learn.
you call it advanced.
But then you learn how you can do it by slip stitching as opposed to
Oh
using
my
a
gosh.
cable needle.
Oh,
My-
that's interesting.
My head's gonna pop.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. But when you're in a workshop, there were about 10 or 11 knitters or probably about 12 knitters with us on the tour, and you've got all different skill levels.
Yeah.
So some people really enjoyed it, and some people were absolutely terrified by it and didn't
Sure.
get it finished. And it seemed like every workshop they say, "Oh, knitters is a project," and you can turn it into a headband.
Oh.
Well, how many headbands does one person need?
Well,
But anyway,
exactly.
A Christmas gift.
But I got it finished, and I put it on.
And I'm not one to be terrified. It's more like dumbfounded.
Dumbfounded by a headband.
No, by the whole
Cabling.
thing when it got
Cabling.
advanced and complicated.
All knitting patterns are just one stitch at a time. You take a deep
Yes.
breath, glass of wine on one side, block of chocolate on the other.
That
cruise
is a
on through.
fantastic way of
2
looking
blocks
at
of
it.
chocolate.
Or choose your tipple of whiskey, whether it's Irish or
A
Scotch
tipple.
or some lager.
And a
or
tipple
something.
is exactly
It's however large you want it to
shot,
be.
little tipple. Is
Yeah.
it just a
Sometimes the
splash?
size of a tipple is quite variable depending on the need.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I you know, when I first met James, I was complimenting on his, you know, his proper English, which we had a giggle about.
A boot.
Because exactly. Because I was saying how it's like, you know, does one go to private school to have such a posh New Zealand accent? And it was kind of humorous.
Well, the humorous
That's
thing
right.
is when a New Zealander pronounces the numeral after 5 or talks about the
Oh.
wooden structure outside people's homes. So we'll choose not to say those words in case people are offended by how New Zealanders pronounce them.
What's the wooden structure?
Oh my gosh.
What is the wooden?
It's made out of wood. It's attached
Do you
to.
walk on it?
Yes.
It's,
Oh,
a,
a
it's,
deck.
a, it's another way of it's another way of describing 52 cards. Yeah.
Oh, right.
But when New Zealanders pronounce it, it sounds like an anatomy lesson.
Oh, and the other one, like number 6. Right.
Yeah, sounds like a happy pastime.
Okay. We'll leave it at that.
So from the Aran Islands, I must say, what a beautiful.
You're still moving.
Yeah,
We're still in Ireland.
You're only in
Yeah.
Ireland.
We haven't made it yet to the Weaver.
Oh yes.
Oh,
Mm.
the Dreamweaver.
Oh Oh my god, that's good.
Well, I mean, the tour I was on was organised by Tourism Ireland, and it's part of wooltours.com, and so they try and have the tour based on things that will interest the people on the tour.
Or excite you.
Yeah, as the case may be.
I think we need to hose Jamie off right now.
Oh my goodness.
I think Jamie wanted to come in my suitcase and said that he couldn't quite get there.
I don't know any of the other. I don't know the rest of the song.
Jamie's behaving like this because he saw a post I made of a young gentleman weaver who was working his craft in the town of Galway. And he was a sweet young man, and he told us he'd been doing it since March because the person he was employed by couldn't do it anymore.
Oh.
And he told us the average age of a weaver in Ireland is now 75.
Wow. Jeez. And he wasn't.
So they need some
75.
young recruits.
Young recruits.
Well, that's great that he's taking that.
But my
I was fascinated by his handiwork on the shuttlecock.
yeah, it was all about the flick of the wrist.
That's what you're
If you
saying.
noticed, yeah.
You mentioned that.
I did
didn't
an
quite
Instagram
understand.
post, and I told it. Ireland has many attractions, and it was this young gentleman giving us the talk about weaving and how to do the herringbone, and
The which?
the herringbone pattern, different from houndstooth, and
Okay. Oh, Harry. Oh, yes.
and he gave us the actual demonstration.
Another pattern.
A pattern.
That's another pattern.
His name's not Harry.
A pattern in the
That's another
fabric.
pattern. I'm learning so much today. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't have your
fascinating,
notepad.
And,
I do.
Mental
What are you
notes.
talking about? It's right here.
And you'll see a lot of people that have home looms that they have their shuttle,
Yes.
which they pass through by hand and
Yes.
slow like that.
Is that the old-fashioned way of doing it?
Well, no, it's the way of doing it. But when you've got a commercial situation like that,
Mhm.
it's done to be on a faster scale because the quicker they can make it.
Yeah.
the more
Yeah.
they- So what they have is they've got these little strings that are tied down, and instead of passing the shuttle through gently,
Right.
they just pull a
What
quick
happens? And then what happens?
yank.
Give it a
you
yank.
might say, and that fires the shuttle across behind to the other side.
Oh, wow.
for real?
And then they do their foot action.
Yeah.
For how they're going to control the parts of the loom, and then they yank back, and the shuttle comes back the other
So you
direction.
go boom and it goes back and boom.
Yeah, so
and
they're
goes
constantly
forward.
flicking.
How
like
fast
that.
does that go?
Very fast.
Like you're doing foot, so like how fast? You're going like foot,
As more experienced
foot,
as
boom,
you are,
foot, boom, foot.
yeah.
Like is
When
it-
you're really experienced, you're just going.
so you get
healthily.
into a rhythm.
Yeah.
Gosh, that would be complicated to me. 'Cause
For
it's
someone
like
that's
doing
new to
this.
anything, it's always
doing like that.
complicated
Yeah.
and scary. But the more times you do anything, the
Oh,
better you
right.
become,
Definitely,
right.
and more skilled.
I've heard that.
So 100 hours of cable knitting, and you'll be an expert.
That's right.
How many hours?
About 100.
100.
Oh my gosh, that'll take me into
Then you'll be
year
doing cable stitches with 2 needles.
2024.
So we saw a lot of different weavers on the trip actually. So it's good seeing the variety. We went to Donegal Yarns as well, who are one of the 2 main mills left in Ireland, and it's the tweed yarn which they
Oh,
produce.
yeah.
Yes.
And they're also very focused on only being 100% wool, so you won't see any sock yarn being produced because they don't want to put
Okay.
nylon because they're just
Sure.
very focused on being 100% wool.
But
Yeah.
you know, why are people so focused on stock yarn? I mean, if you think of the olden days, I mean, they didn't have anything to add to the wool, and all socks would have been made of wool, different types, different textures, fibers, sheep. But why is it so important that they're not going to bother, sock yarn? Because
Yeah.
even now, like when we set up and people are looking for sock yarn, I mean, you could just use any yarn. You could use something that's just a little more hefty and a little more
Yeah.
sturdy. But everybody these days, when they think sock yarn, you have to have a percentage of something
Acrylic or
synthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a phrase.
I get it for durability these days, but really,
Yeah,
You
I
just
have a
make-
phrase. It's makers versus menders. You can use any yarn, but it might wear faster, and some
Well, it
people don't
will.
have the skill to mend it.
Yeah.
So before, when you used to use any yarn to knit, when I was a child, you used to mend and darn your socks, and some people don't have
Absolutely.
that skill and don't want to learn it. So therefore,
Mm.
they want something that's going to last longer.
yes.
But then that's the joy of the knitting community. There's a whole spectrum of what people want to do and
That's
what they
right.
want to purchase.
And what you
so-
choose to do and what you choose to use.
Yeah, I mean, the Koiga
yeah.
is a sock yarn which is tightly spun, but it doesn't have nylon in it.
So-
I used to use it for socks
so
anyway.
because it's tightly spun, then you've got more durability.
It makes the
to
thread
it.
a little bit
So
stronger.
there
Yeah.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are a
Yeah.
lot of choices.
I mean, I shouldn't just say Koiga, but it's a base yarn which a lot of companies have actually used,
Mhm.
but that was the first one I came across with the tight spin. Yeah.
Right.
Excellent.
So we also went, when we were coming back, we went to Belfast as well, and we learned about the differences between the north and the south, and it's a different country, and even the architecture is very different, and the accent is somewhat different too. And
which? No, what is it?
The accent. The way people talk.
Oh.
Like the way I talk sometimes, that people
I'm
can't
just teasing.
understand me.
I'm just teasing because I understand. We all understand every word you're saying. Subtitles later.
I found that it was easier for me to understand the Irish accent than some of the people on the tour that I was with.
You mentioned that.
And I always sometimes play around with talking with a bit of an Irish accent.
And you said there
Having
was
a bit of
something
fun with it all.
You thought there was something very special about their accent.
Yeah, like some people get attracted to the Italian accent. I'm just one of these people that's attracted to the Irish accent.
I love the French accent and the Scottish.
Is that because you're
And the
French?
Italian.
I don't think you discriminate,
And
Jamie.
Australian.
That's right. This is when you discriminate.
I'm just very easygoing.
Oh, just one thing I'll say about weaving also is that we went to the Irish Linen Museum.
Oh, yes.
That'd be nice.
That would
And that
have
was
been
great
fascinating.
because, it was, because the linen industry really only took off because the Tudors, good old Henry VIII, he wasn't happy that the Irish wool industry was taking business away from the English wool industry.
Right.
So he taxed it so heavily they had to do something different. So they put the energies into linen.
Oh.
And it's weaving,
interesting.
which is the same process as weaving wool, but it's a finer thread.
What did they do to try to change the economy?
They taxed them. So
I
therefore
didn't know
there
they
would
had
have been...
texting back then.
Oh my gosh, Jamie.
Okay, I'm going to stop. I apologize. I interrupted. That was stupid. We'll edit that out.
No, we won't probably. So yeah, it was through taxation.
Oh, yes.
GST-ing.
Good old taxation. Just a little something you throw in that changes
Yeah.
it changes the entire economy, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
But it just moved the focus from wool to flax. And what I found
Okay.
fascinating is that in the early days of New Zealand as a colony, the
Yes.
flax industry was huge in New Zealand as well.
Okay.
But our common flax is a variety called harakeke. And it looks completely different to the English flax that we saw at the museum showing us how it was made. So, but again, it's the fibre within the plant itself which is used to create the thread.
Yeah.
So it was amazing
Okay.
because the same thing happened in New Zealand. It was incredibly popular. And even the native Maori, they used the flax to create their pew-pew skirts.
Their
which
what?
their skirt is called a
Okay.
pew-pew, P-I-U-P-I-U.
I like that.
Yeah. So I'll tell you about how they are made. But, so it's
Okay.
fantastic. I mean, even the people that came before European settlers knew the benefits of that plant and what they could do with that plant. So
And you know, it's fascinating because, you know, Canada, the big thing with a natural fiber was the hemp, which hemp was an entire industry. Every ship rigging was made of hemp. Everything
Yeah.
was made of hemp.
the strength
and,
is incredible.
and somehow, somewhere along the way, you know, it was everything to do with hemp and marijuana, which is two completely different, you know, things that you're gonna. And then that whole hemp industry with changing the laws, with equating it to marijuana. And even way back when, my sister actually had a hemp shop back in, that would have been before I left my hometown. So the early 90s, and even the hemp, you know, people were still going, oh, hemp and marijuana. It's like, what? So
Yeah.
an entire industry just went flatlined. Sometime, I don't know my history on it, but sometime the whole hemp industry just went flatlined with, you know, think about alcohol and prohibition. It was similar,
Yeah.
but it was the hemp, marijuana, not the same. We're not smoking it, we're making rope. So it would be similar to this flax, what you're saying. The entire
Yeah.
industry with the flax, which is still used to this day, though.
To a lesser degree in New Zealand,
Right.
because you know mechanisation's moved on and it's so
Exactly.
much easier to make cotton fabrics and stuff.
Like it is polyester. That's French for polyester.
Right. It's like we call plastique.
Exactly. It's so much more chic because it's like, you think of it like a Paris fashion or something. It's so much more chic.
Shishi indeed.
Well, it sounds like an amazing trip.
It was.
And then he made his way to the cabin, and it's like,
We went to Niagara Falls.
went to Niagara Falls.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Power of
whole-
nature.
Oh, that
Incredible.
little falls. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was incredible.
And then yesterday we went to a fair
We
in
did.
Kitchener
W.
Waterloo.
We did.
Did you make any purchases?
Can a knitter go to a yarn fair and not make purchases?
I don't know, Jamie. Is that possible?
I don't know. It's like they say, when a tree falls in the woods. I don't even know how that goes.
Is anybody here?
When a
Exactly.
butterfly in South America flutters its wings, James goes off and buys more yarn.
That's right.
Did you just make that one up?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see the goods.
Chaos theory.
Okay.
Well, I did buy a few things yesterday.
Yeah.
In my handy little ball sack.
Oh my goodness.
Because knitters need knitters things.
What do you have in that big old ball sack?
Well, I was wandering around the Yarn Fest with these two.
As one does.
And these two mega celebrities in the yarn world. And I'm just like a nobody from another country, so I'm just wandering.
You are James of New Zealand.
It's the James of New Zealand.
One little anecdote. It was hysterically funny. We were lined up to go into the Yarn Fest, and this woman comes up to us. Oh, can I take your photograph to these? They've said you're someone famous, and so she took the photograph.
I'm looking over my shoulder,
and then she sort of says, "Oh, I have a podcast too. Here's my card." And I sort of said quite bluntly, like some New Zealanders do, "Do you want to know who they are if they're famous?"
But we're not famous. But it's just like, well, someone said I should take your photo. I'm like, yes, thank you.
And I kept thinking she was talking to somebody behind me.
But I told her who.
And also our experience at the yarn shop, you and I, because she said,
"Oh my gosh,
excuse me, I need." Well,
Jamie has a super fan. Her name's
Cindy.
Cindy.
The other guy. Yes. And I thought, the other guy? What? Only because I'm usually with Christopher, and so if they don't see the bearded one, I don't exist.
Bearded
so
one. If they don't see your beard.
Because Cindy said she worked in the contact centre business, so she's used to the audio. So she
That's
said,
right.
I heard your voice, and I'm sure it was the other guy.
I was blown away by that. Actually, was like she heard my voice and she thought, that's the other guy. And I said, oh, but Christopher's the cabin boy, and it was all about the other guy, which was very sweet. And it was her birthday.
It was. Her birthday treat was seeing Elton John that night, so she had two loves of her life in the one day.
Exactly.
Elton John and the other guy.
And then she said she there's a possibility she'll be at the KW fair, and there was Cindy, right? So then she winked at me. She winked, and I said, Cindy? First I said Yvonne. She says, no, the other one. Only because we did a happy birthday just that evening for Yvonne, and it was her birthday, so
yes.
But I mean, I knew that I had just seen her, but then it obviously clicked because it was like, right, you said we'd see you at the KW Fibre Festival, and sure enough, the Knitters Fair.
Yeah.
And you made some purchases.
I did indeed. And it was great going around a fair with you two because you know everybody.
We didn't know anybody, but they seem to know us.
We know.
We do know people. We
Yes.
saw all sorts of old friends, new friends. It's wonderful to meet up with people we've seen here, there, and everywhere on your travels, as you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you traveled around. You saw people you knew this way, and so we saw people we knew this way, and people that we only see at fairs when we go and travel to and from them, which was great.
And you guys are freed up because you weren't trading that day. You got the chance to move around the floor and talk to everybody and fondle and have fun.
And fondle
and have fun.
I did lots of fondling.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, God, you guys had a hackathon as well. Everybody loves hugging you two.
It's great.
So, one purchase I made was Timber Yarn's twin sock.
Nice.
And I like this because sometimes it's nice actually having the 250 grams as opposed to 100 gram. It gives you a better feel for how far you're getting with the pattern if you're going to be doing socks or mittens.
And you can expand them and make them and turn them into knee highs.
And I bought that from the Dolphina stand. Was that her brand name?
Yes, the brand name. So Sophie Dolphina.
Yeah. But Timber Yarns was another dyer who we actually met around the corner.
Yes,
a little bit later.
I was so happy you purchased this. Because we had that chat with her, and she's a fantastic dyer.
Yeah.
And then you went over and purchased the yarn. It was
just
great.
by chance because you love the colors and the combination of the two skeins.
Yeah.
And incredible colors.
Yeah.
And I want to say just a quick fact about timber.
Sure.
Yarns. The dyer, her son, is named Christopher.
That's right.
And he is dating a guy named Walker.
Christopher and Walker.
How's that? That's so bizarre.
See, and now I'm making the connection.
Yes.
I loved it because I'm visually challenged and wear face furniture all the time. And she had the most amazing eyeglasses on.
Oh, she did.
So,
yes. They were beautiful.
Oh, she did.
So I knew she was a style maven right from the start.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's that one.
And sometimes when I'm looking at yarn, I mean, I never have a project in mind. I just like something and I buy it and it'll talk to me and it stays in my stash. And
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It talks to me sometime in the future. But the things that attract you are sometimes the colours. But this time it was just the name, Gobsmacked.
Yes.
And I thought, what a fantastic name for a yarn label. And they're also like a fade dye type thing. And so when you actually see what they've done, you are kind of gobsmacked. This is really
gorgeous.
Nice.
That swirl of colour is gorgeous.
Yeah. So this will go into a shawl of some sort. So it's superwash merino.
Yeah.
It'll be great. It's called the Denser Growth.
The what?
The Denser Growth.
Oh.
Personally, I prefer a trimmed look, but that's just me.
Dense. Okay. Whatever's do you mean?
And then,
Oh, this
then
is nice.
the
Oh.
Blue Brick Dye Works, they were a delightful couple that
Shireen and Tito.
yeah,
They're
and
wonderful.
they based their colour stories on photographs, and they love doing scuba diving, and they'll take photographs from their environment, whether they're scuba diving, and do colourways. And they've got 4 different yarn brands, and one of the yarn type bases, and one was called Husky, and it had Killarney sock on it. And I thought,
Yes.
I've just been to Ireland. I said, what's the connection to Killarney? And they said, oh, our names also relate to places. Was it just exclusively Ontario, or just Canada?
Yes.
Yeah. So just the name Killarney kind of got me going, and I got a shock when they told me the price. When I just grabbed it off and bought it, so I was a little
yes.
bit surprised by the price.
Yes.
But
It's gorgeous.
they had 4 price points, and that was only the second lowest price point. But I was quite surprised at how high that low price point was.
And this color is absolutely
It's
gorgeous,
stunning.
the mix
It
of
is.
colors. And I've been to Killarney because Killarney is just outside of my hometown down the highway. And then you actually go down the highway, but it's on the waterfront in Georgian Bay, and it's known for its quartz cliffs. So they have these beautiful white sparkling, and it's called Silver Peak because everything sparkles. But I could see the colors. It could be either the fall foliage, it could be the water, the greenery. It's an incredible, beautiful
But
tourist
that town
area.
is an imposter. I was at the real Killarney in Ireland just recently.
Well, everything
Everything in Canada is named after.
everything in Canada.
Well,
there's-
unless it has an indigenous name.
There's similarities
Pretty
in
much,
New Zealand
exactly.
too. So many
Yeah.
names we have in
Yeah.
New Zealand I'm seeing spotted around here as well.
if it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, Temiskaming or
Yeah.
Shibugamu, I don't think that do you have Shibugamu in the UK or Temiskaming or
No, but we did get Shibuya yarn.
Attawapiskat? What about Attawapiskat, Ireland?
Right.
Anyway, that's Killarney, Canada.
Yeah. And just as another side note, Killarney
Yes.
is where the stone came from for the Irish Famine Memorial that we saw down on the waterfront
Right.
in Toronto.
Oh, that's right.
absolutely
So that's where the stone came from. So it's another
thank
link.
you for mentioning that, which is great.
Because when I
Yeah.
buy things on holiday too, I want a memory associated with
For
it.
sure.
So
I
therefore,
forgot about that.
whatever I make out of this is going to have the link to the fair,
Yes.
time with you guys, Killarney,
The
Ireland.
Irish immigrants when they landed in Canada, and they have this very moving monument. And I had been there once before, and I forgot about the connection because I was thinking about the stone, and my first thought, it looks like an old stone foundation and the monument with the stone. And you're right, it was actually they brought the stone specifically from Ireland, Killarney, for part of
Yeah.
the monument. I forgot about that. That's a wonderful memory and connection.
Yeah. And then another yarn I bought was
Oh,
the Great
yes.
Story. I think, have you mentioned them earlier?
Not yet.
Oh, sorry, I shouldn't
No,
jump
no,
the
no,
gun.
no, 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 no.
But it was
No.
a beautiful company. Now this one was a mix of merino, cashmere and silk. So it is gorgeous to the touch. And it's just, what I'm trying to do on this trip is also buying yarns that are a different colour palette from what I would normally buy.
Oh my goodness.
To try,
Try the same thing.
to try and broaden my horizons, because one can only have so much green and purple in one's yarn collection. So this just spoke to me that it was just subtle with the subtle greys and whites in the background with just a hint of the gold coming through. It's going to have a speckled effect.
Yes.
So I've got a special project in mind to make this with, but I can't really speak any further about that because it may be gifted at some time to one of the 2 people sitting next to me
Right.
as another memory of the trip.
Who was dying?
A Wanderer and Her Wool. It was a fantastic, relatively new yarn
Nicolina.
company. And fantastic logo. It's a woman going on a journey, and the artwork was by her sister.
Yes.
So it's like it was a family
Yeah.
affair there
Absolutely
too.
beautiful.
Yeah. And redheads are quite amazing, I must admit. So it was quite good seeing another redhead being successful in the world.
Let's jump into this
And when-
to this one right
Oh,
now.
I jumped the gun.
Well,
so-
No, you didn't jump the
No,
gun.
it's
You
fine
let it
because-
off.
What happened was when we wandered into the booth together and we walked by the booth and the couple of lovely ladies, all I remember, because it was very overwhelming, but I just heard, "Oh, you've arrived." That's what they said something, "Oh, you're here."
We were waiting for you. We were so hoping
we were
you'd
waiting
come.
for you. And then I was thinking, huh? Like, And then they come up and they had something for me. And it was this. And so she's walking towards me and showing this, and I'm thinking, oh, that is a lovely color. And then she was showing me the label, and I was thinking, okay, charcoal, you dyed it with ash, I'm thinking, oh, we're gonna, what? And then I had a closer look without my glasses, and
The yarn name, colourway.
the other guy,
Yes.
and it was quite moving because I'm thinking, the other guy in my mind is kind of going like this.
And this
Who's the
big,
other guy?
strong, confident man about town got slightly
That's
emotional.
not me.
Slightly. I think that was a 3-tissue visit.
She don't know me very well. I'm not any of what he just described. But no, I was thinking, oh my gosh. And so, Christopher, so we had met them.
Yeah. So
prior.
if we refer back to our coverage of the Woolstock
Woolstock
episode
in
last
Paris,
year,
Ontario.
we interviewed them and had a conversation with them and with Nicolina, and we were talking about her dying. Or was her sweater?
Because her
Was
sweater. Because I was like, wow. I said, I love your sweater. And there's this beautiful array of colorful pattern on her sweater. And I was like, well, that is so nice. And then her mom says, it was her mom, right? Says,
Well, we thought it was her sister.
we did say her sister. And then it was like, we did. And she said,
Even
oh,
yesterday, I thought
she
it was her
died.
sister.
She died it herself. And I was like, what? We're like, wow. And I think that they were somewhat, I guess, inspired after that to continue with their dying skills and herself dying. And then I'm almost getting emotional now because it was so moving.
Where are the Kleenexes?
No, but because she felt so much more inspired, and here they are, and they had their booth with all of their dyed products, and they thought of me, and they dyed this yarn specifically
It was so sweet.
for me.
Yeah.
And the grey with the grey, apparently. And
But they're
you
so
know,
excited to see you because
were
they
excited.
were desperate to see you because there was only one skein left.
there was
Yes.
only one.
There was a
skein
combination of a beautiful colourway and a fantastic name that made it very popular and almost it was a sellout once.
It was
you
a sellout. There was
bought
Yeah.
only the one left, and there it was. And so I insisted on purchasing it from them. And then we had hugs and shed a tear and a hug, and it
And then
means a
another
lot.
tear.
And another hug.
And then
And
another
it's
hug.
just so special. So I plan on making something exceptionally special, and I don't knit often, but this will be something I will knit every stitch with, and I'll think of both of them very specifically when knitting.
And another great idea is a friend of mine, he'll buy a special piece of yarn, like this will be for you, and he doesn't necessarily think about what he's going to do with it for a while. He'll display it. He might change it from that into a ball, and he puts it in a bowl on display somewhere. He'll then change it to
that's a good
something
idea too.
else. So he
Yeah.
gets to live with it and enjoy it in a different way before it actually becomes a garment. Or
I
a
meant
project.
it's very, very soft because the wool is actually merino nylon wool. I'm not going to make a sock with it because it's not. There's no way this is going on my butt. This is going around my neck,
Yeah.
or on my. It's going to be up here. So maybe I'll just sleep with it. I'll sleep on it, and then I'm going to decide what I'm going to make with this.
Or you could figure if you know anyone who's yarn worthy, you might make them something.
I'm making this for me. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's all about the other guys.
Exactly.
It's
It's
all about the
other
other
guys. I'm making something for me.
It is beautiful, really
And
nice.
It's very beautiful, and it was very thoughtful and very moving and touching, and I thank you
It was
once
lovely.
again. It was a very special moment in time that I will cherish this yarn.
And we have something else to talk about.
We do, because you
Yeah.
mentioned the artwork.
Yes.
So not only the card, which we'll bring up.
Yeah,
put
it'll be
that
in our
up
show
up
notes.
close and personal.
Yeah.
But she gave me this very special image
From her sister.
as well. And it's absolutely stunningly beautiful, and we'll have that framed, and we'll put it up there so we can see it up close and personal. It's me as a redhead sitting on a log with my basket of yarn and my project. And
How did they know?
And a blissful look on your
was there a
face.
story? Was there a story behind? Because I was so.
I thought you just gave the story.
No, but I'm talking about why the redhead. Why the?
I'm not sure. We'll have to ask.
Because you mentioned the ginger, and there's
Well,
was the sister ginger? I was just very. There was a lot going on at the
Well,
moment.
Mrs.
So
Nicolina is it's
Yes.
similar to her hair.
yeah, so I'm just we'll find out a little more about the story.
Her
We'll put
sister's
it up
the
there.
artist, and
Yeah, I know
so
that.
it's a
Yeah.
very talented
That part.
family.
Exactly.
Someone assumes that's.
So very special.
That's beautiful.
So thank you.
And
Was that it for you?
Well, no.
He may have brought another thing or two.
Maybe had a
Maybe.
few more things in
when
his
you
ball sack.
travel away that you've never been to before, you don't know when you'll be back, so you just
But it's-
take advantage.
Yeah,
of
but it's
things.
also funny because you're kind of, let's say, on the last leg of your, like it's kind of like the world. What do you call that? Amazing race. Amazing
yarn race.
Amazing yarn
Oh,
race.
what a good idea.
Exactly.
Amazing grocery yarn grant.
Yeah, and you had said, well, I'm not making many more purchases because you've got a lot already stuff, so you're going to be very selective. But so far, where are we now? You got another thing or two in your bag of tricks.
The whole thing is
And
that
your ball sack.
Look how he's guarding it too.
I know, it's like-
it's like back off.
It's desperately like, desperately.
So, some purchases are selfish, but also sometimes when you go to these yarn events, you think of other people in your life that are special to
Absolutely.
you. So you buy things for them.
Yes.
So a friend of mine is a science communicator. I won't release her name just yet, but I found this great little bag. And it's got science. It's just like magic, but real. So I thought, oh, she's definitely going to have that for
That is
Christmas.
fantastic.
I love that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I hadn't seen like that anywhere before.
Because
So
that is just, I mean,
Yeah.
That's
that in itself could apply to anything and everything in the world because it's like, it's real. Yeah, science.
And it's orange. And it's Christmas shopping started. So I'm
Yes,
happy.
fantastic.
And the person who is house sitting my home while I'm away and looking after my precious cat, Miss Jaffa, she's a very crafty person
Hold
too.
on, hold on a second. The name. What is the name of your cat?
Miss Jaffa.
That's a great name.
I adopted her when she was 6 years old, and she
Yes.
had the name Jaffa, but I thought that was too plain.
Yeah.
And I had a thought of naming her Miss Rogers because she was
Oh.
ginger. But I don't like renaming pets. I don't think it's fair
No.
on them because she
Yeah.
was 6
Yeah.
years old already. So then I just upgraded her from Jaffa to Miss Jaffa because she comes with a certain amount of attitude as well.
Yes, that is a fantastic.
That's
name.
perfect.
That's a great drag.
And
name,
she's a
too.
female ginger, which is rare for cats, so she knows she's special. So Jess,
Sorry for interrupting you.
that's okay. Jess, who's looking after my place, I've been looking for little gifts for her along the way too. And your friend Jennifer, was it?
Julie
Oh,
Crawford.
Julie. Sorry, Julie Crawford. I got the Crawford, but the wrong name. No.
Yeah.
Sorry, Julie. But she had these wonderful embroidery sets that she had there on display, and this little one caught my eye. So it's a little kit that gets you started. It's got all the embroidery threads that you need to replicate this beautiful image which is on the front. And I just thought that was a great gift.
Yeah,
'Cause
everything was quite pretty and intricate.
It was so beautifully displayed, that stall as well, and what was there. It was very hard to only buy one.
Yeah, yeah, it was, and she's a fantastic designer. We've interviewed her for the Canadian interview series.
Yes.
Knitted Bliss. She's got a fantastic blog as well.
And we had it. We also have the shawl that she designed with
Yes.
in cooperation with
Yeah.
Boy Knits, which is
Yep.
wonderful.
And her mother was a delight too. with
Oh,
the
yes.
staff.
Oh yes, her mother. Because we said she had a talk to do, and we thought, oh, do you have a volunteer who's? Because sometimes when they'll have a specific. She goes, that would be my mother, and she happened to show up because she was running out to do her
Yeah.
talk.
And the mother said, "Oh, I'm so nervous." I said, "Experiment on me. I want this."
That's right. All right. Yeah. Exactly.
And they're from Sudbury.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
There was a Sudbury connection,
Yeah.
which is our hometown.
Yeah.
And sometimes knitters are just obsessed with sheep. And
Yes,
I'm a knitter
sometimes.
and I'm obsessed with sheep. So one stall had these beautiful soaps from a mould, and they were shaped like sheep. So I'm not going to defile this poor sheep by using it as bar of soap, but I am going to have it in my bathroom.
It's one of those ones that will be on display forever.
Yeah, it will.
ever
And
and
it's-
ever.
And also when it's in the air for a long period of time, it hardens the soap as well. So it'll keep its shape and
And it has a
luster.
beautiful scent.
And it's lavender. isn't it?
Lavender, yeah.
Mhm.
So
Nice.
yeah, bit
Very
of
nice.
substance abuse of enjoying the scent of that in the bathroom. But, there we go.
Yes.
That's great.
So that was the main purchases that I made on the day.
I happened to make a few purchases as well.
You did?
I did.
What was
Yes,
that?
a couple of purchases. You
Was
were
I
there.
there?
You're holding the camera. I think you have evidence.
No,
You
I
have
was holding
evidence.
the bag.
Oh.
Remember?
Jamie was holding back the tears.
That's right. Oh yeah, he was still wiping back the
I
tears.
was still wiping. Trying to. I had the backpack full of goods on my back. I was holding the camera. Oh my goodness! It's like she better work.
So we went to Leo and Roxy. Leo and Roxy
Yes.
are a Canadian company. They're in, where did I say they were located? Outside of London, Ontario, and St. Mary.
Yes.
Yeah, they have their own YouTube channel as well. They are going to be in Prince Edward Island with us in a couple of weeks as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
She did mention that.
So anyway, I saw a great sock pattern. The sock pattern is Pamela Graham for Leo and Roxy yarn, and it's a work sock. So I thought I really like the look of it, and so I thought, you know what, I could go with the traditional gray and black or gray and blue, but I thought, why don't I try yellow? So we'll see what that looks like. But I'm really excited. This will be I'll be knitting this when we're away on our trip.
Okay.
And then I was obsessed with this
Oh
yarn.
yes.
And it is so beautiful. Bar à Tricot from Quebec, hand dyed. And this is silk, 69% silk, 22% mohair, and 9% nylon. It is
And
gorgeous.
the shine to it,
It
the
is
softness is
beautiful.
absolutely beautiful. And she had such an array of colors.
The-
It just, yeah.
I could have bought 10 skeins. All of our colors were absolutely beautiful. I went to my safe space. So I'm not proud of that, but I could not stop staring at this skein of yarn. And so we did our whole trip around the fair, and then I came back and I bought this.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. It's so beautiful.
I'll just cheeky interrupt because you used a phrase, you said safe space.
Yeah.
I just want to mention that at the Fibre Fest, they actually had created a safe space
Yes.
for people
Yes,
as
this
well.
is true.
And
Yeah.
had some safe ambassadors around, roaming around the venue as well. So if anybody felt upset or if they needed assistance with anything like that, there were these people there to help, and it
Yeah.
was great.
In
It
case
was
they
a
were
great
having
initiative.
a moment or needed to
Well,
step
they kept
away
following
or-
Jamie because he had several moments.
Honey, come
Jamie
back.
was trying to steal their sash.
I know, they were wearing these wonderful sashes, and so they were very much spotted. And yeah, they had the space up there where you could just, there was a yarn, there were you could color, you could knit, and they were saying that if you just pick up the yarn and just do a few rows and stitches,
Yeah.
and it would be
you feel better.
scarves, you feel better, and the scarves that would later be donated to a cause or to people for a good cause, good reason. And yeah, they had that space.
Beautiful initiative.
So what were the highlights of the Kitchener Waterloo Knitting Fair?
For me, it was experiencing a fair in another country, to compare it to what we have in New Zealand. And in New Zealand, we're a smaller population, smaller country. We don't have quite so many of them. So for me to see that number of vendors in one space was really great. And I showed immense restraint only buying what I bought.
Doesn't everyone show restraint?
What about you, Jamie?
Well, the highlights is always the people that I get to chat and see, and the old friends, some of the vendors that we see and we haven't seen in a couple of years, and seeing them again and again never gets tired. It's always wonderful, and meeting new people and meeting people that, you know, we've said it before, it's, you know, we sit back here and during the last while, you know, talking this way with Christopher and I, and then we talk this way, and then to reach out and actually there are real people out there that you get to see live and up close and personal is always the most special thing to me. I'm not as excited. I don't like, oh, I was going to say something inappropriate, but when I see the yarn, I don't get so excited. I'm not.
There was a bit of dribble at one point.
Yeah, and it wasn't over the yarn. But that's why this, to me, is very special. This is very special, but it's definitely, I like the experience altogether with the people that makes it that much more special to me, and I'll never get tired of that.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is, for me, it definitely was meeting people, and I wasn't ready for the emotional piece of it. I definitely wasn't ready for that.
We went to the safe space.
I had to go to the
We
safe space.
did, because you did. You said you were feeling
I was
a little
overwhelmed.
You were a little overwhelmed, and you thought it was just because you didn't have, you know, enough to eat, or you didn't have enough, you know, maybe it was dehydration, but it was just that it was very. It is moving and overwhelming, but overwhelming in a really
positive
fantastic way.
Yeah.
And it was time, you needed just a little pause, and we also needed a little bite to eat. So we did go up to the safe space to just get away, and so that, yes.
I think what linked into it was that because you weren't there as traders this time, you were there as people, so it was more emotional spending time with everybody as opposed to when you're trying to sell product and community, the time with each person is shorter.
Yeah.
You actually had more time to spend with people in a much more laid back met manner than what you would normally have at an event like that. And I think that's why the emotions were stronger as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the vendors seemed to be really happy to be out in a space, and a lot of them it was the first time in the last couple of years. Yeah. So it was wonderful to see them. I was super excited to see some that I haven't seen in a long time. I was so happy to meet the Blue Brick Gang.
Yes, yes, you've been wanting to meet.
Yeah, absolutely, and just seeing everybody smiling,
and
it's so nice to see.
And you also had a very special moment with one of.
Jamie, I don't have any Kleenex in front of me. Can't finish that story.
That was very special, meeting someone who you had a connection with, and
yeah, we shared email, and it was nice to see.
Actually, in person, it was very special. So we were talking about this earlier because you had said how you know, you don't realize. Actually, I was talking to my friend in Vancouver who just moved in this morning, and she had mentioned how you just, you know, we're just here doing our thing and having a good time doing it, and then what makes it extra special is all of the extra special people out there who make it that much extra special for us. But then being out there and meeting them, you don't realize how you could just touch a person in so many levels, in so many different ways. It could be so much as just, the yarn. It could be the yarn. It could be absolutely anything, and a lot of it becomes very, very personal, and it does become very touching and very moving and very special each and every time. So you never know what to expect, and it's always wonderful. And even when we are vending, the people who come up and say hello, and we have these moments that are just incredible, and that's what makes what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're just having a good time, having a hobby going, and it becomes so much more than
Doing
that.
what you love.
So on deck, what do we have on deck? We are preparing. We're
On
leaving
deck,
next
what's that
week for. Yeah, I should have you say that.
Someone's going places. Well, where are you going first, James?
Well, the other thing I was going to say is a knitter on holiday still knits.
Yeah,
That's right.
So
Yes.
I've been knitting. I started doing a new set of kilt hose for myself, but it was dark yarn. I wasn't doing very well. I was tired from traveling. So,
Hold on a second.
Dark yarn.
No, what did you say? You were knitting what?
kilt hose. The socks for
Oh,
wearing
for
a kilt.
Okay.
They're
thank
called,
you.
they're called hose.
Hose.
When,
Okay. So when I was wearing a kilt and somebody said kilt hoe, I thought they were just referring to me. But
it was the second. It was the second,
socks.
The syllable goes long as hose.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it now. Okay, so
Good that we're clear.
Jamie,
on
why
that.
are you blushing?
Because I was thinking about the one we saw.
Because he was embracing the first part of the syllable.
The Scottish gentleman, kilted gentleman
From
we met
Fergus.
at the last Fergus.
Oh,
yes.
Fergus,
And he was
yeah.
at the last
Fergus
festival. He was
Yarn
at this
Company.
festival, and we ran into him we chatted with him at Twist, and we saw him again here.
Yes.
And he was all about his kilt.
Yeah.
He was exuberant.
Yes, he was. That's the word. They had a wonderful booth as well. Very
Oh,
colorful.
yes, for sure.
It was
The
amazing.
koi
They
colour
always
I
do.
must bought.
Yes.
So I switched to some projects that would be easier for me to knit. So for me, knitting a standard sock is quite straightforward. So I've done a couple of pairs of socks, but when I was staying with Sam, I left behind a cowl that I was going to be taking to the men's knitting retreat.
Oh.
So I had the yarn with me to do another one at the retreat. So instead, I knitted it while I was travelling.
Oh, very nice.
So Jamie, this is cable knitting.
I know, I said and I can't do that because it's complicated. There's a whole lot of pattern and colors and cables and
Jamie.
counting and thinking.
Yeah.
Ow.
So in the bizarre world of James, I had a cowl when I left New Zealand. I left it behind somewhere, but I just got out the needles and knitted another one while I was travelling.
And you're traveling.
Very nice.
and
That's beautiful.
You're traveling. It's absolutely stunning because I love the colors. And you're traveling to do more knitting.
Yeah. After this, I catch up with friends in the United States. So I'll be going to Connecticut and travelling through to Boston and doing a bit of history there. A fun weekend in New York on the way back. And then I end my grand tour with 6 days at a retreat centre where it's a men's knitting retreat in upstate New York, catching up with some men that I know already and then meeting lots of new guys I haven't met before.
Fantastic.
Which is so happens to be the same when we've been to at Easton Mountain.
Yes.
Myself, my first time, Christopher several times. I was 10 years in the waiting to get there. And so you're going to have a wonderful experience as we did. And it'll be your first time as it was my first time back in May.
Lambkin for New
You're a
York.
lambkin.
Oh,
Yes.
right. I was like, Lambkin, what you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh, it's my first time.
Lambkin, I'm a ram.
Don't be labeling me.
At least Lambkin is better than poor Lamb Chop and Sherry Lewis all those years
Yeah,
ago.
that's
Don't be labeling me a lambkin when you don't even
Yeah.
know me.
I had been to the
That's a good thing.
I had been to the Seattle men's retreat a few times too, so it'd be a nice comparison. East
Absolutely.
Coast, West Coast.
Yes.
Yeah.
And where are we going?
We
Or
are
what
preparing
doing?
for PEI. We leave in 5 days.
What?
Are we ready, Jamie? Yes.
No.
House,
Yes.
house guest may be labelling.
that's right.
I don't know. Should I be saying yes? Well, we are.
Yeah.
We've got a few last minute things to do on our to-do list before
We'll get
we
it done.
prepare to go. But is it 5 days?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Is it
very
really 5?
quickly.
I thought it was like 7.
And we have a giveaway. We're going to give away some
This
skeins
is new.
of
What are
yarn.
we doing?
Yeah, we're giving away some of our new yarn that we've just dyed.
Uh-huh.
And
And that's going to be part of what?
I'm looking for requests from all of you out there. If you know of anywhere we should visit in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, or Prince Edward Island, please put them in the comments, and you will be eligible for skeins of
Eligible.
yarn.
That's a big word. So what? So basically, people just kind of comment on must see, maybe must do places, touristy.
Must see.
It doesn't have to be yarn
Anna Green
related. eh?
Gables. It could be anything that you think we'd be interested in
Yeah.
seeing.
So we'll be going
on our trip.
so we'll be going through. We'll be going through Quebec. and then New,
New
Brunswick,
Brunswick,
then to
Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island.
PEI, Nova Scotia, and back up through New Brunswick, Quebec, and home.
Yeah.
So anywhere along that area,
Yes.
anywhere in that area,
Yeah.
to just give us a little tidbit of something that may be a great thing to do.
I need more yarn. Can I enter, or am I
Yes.
disqualified being friends and family?
You could join us on the tour and skip the men's knitting retreat. We're going kind of close by. Maybe we'll just drop you off along the southern part of it, on the other side of the border. But,
What a great competition.
Yeah. Go.
Alors, pour mes amis canadiens-français, on s'en va vers l'île du Prince-Édouard, au Québec, au Nouveau-Brunswick, la Nouvelle-Écosse. Et si vous avez des suggestions des endroits, des places de fibres qu'on devrait arrêter, do a pit stop in any of those locations, laissez-nous savoir dans les commentaires et on vous donne vous pouvez gagner de la laine de nouvelles couleurs qu'on amène avec nous au festival à l'île du Prince-Édouard. Oh, j'ai de la difficulté ce matin.
Now, Jamie, can you say that with an Irish accent for me?
Did I have an accent? That was my Northern Ontario French tired accent because I'm having water. I had a coffee earlier and I thought it would carry me through, but I had my coffee too soon. So you asked me to speak French at the end of all of this, and my energy level and my French gets a little more.
We just want to thank you so
challenging.
much for watching, and leave your comments, enter the giveaway, and we will talk to you next time. We'll be on the road to PEI.
We will. So
Yeah.
Thank you once again. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being out there. Thank you for showing up at the festivals. And we may see some of you in PEI. And thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
from New Zealand.
It's been great being with you guys. I hope you guys could understand my accent. I talk really fast and strangely.
It's all very good.
It's
in that
beautiful.
Very proper English.
So thank you once again. Take care, everyone, and have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.
What's your name?
My name's Barb. I'm from Twin Pines Alpacas. So we have a large herd of
where are you?
alpacas located in Millbrook, Ontario.
Okay.
And we have a full textile mill on the farm, so all our yarns and rovings you see here, we make ourselves.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's cotton candy?
Right?
I'm gonna eat that.
Bonjour, ici nous avons la base champagne de notre entreprise Baratrico. C'est 69% soie, 22% mohair avec un petit peu de nylon. On peut l'utiliser comme un fingering ou beaking aussi. Donc on a fait ici les différents échantillons. Très doux, très shiny.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yep.
Stunning. Oh
It's
my gosh,
really
it's so gorgeous. It's really nice.
Alors, vous êtes d'où? Où vous êtes situé?
On est situé à Montréal. Nos studios de peinture sont à Montréal, au Québec. Puis on vend surtout aux boutiques et aussi via notre site internet, mais principalement là, on focus plus sur les boutiques. Ouais.
Ok. C'est quoi vos noms encore? Vous s'appelez
Heartfelt, Patricia, Juliette, ma fille, d'Heartfelt et Baratrico.
Ok.
Merci. That's
Merci.
I'm Erin. I'm Teresa.
I think you were going to tell them.
Oh. We're the Safe Spaces ambassador, so yeah, if people have issues or if there's a problem, people can report to us or anything like that. We're really just here to be friendly.
And what happens if they're bad?
Nobody
So,
runs
like
the
a-
knitters fair. We escalate it up to the fair committee. Yes.
So you're not like technically the knitting police.
I wish we could have little badges, like little sheriff's stars and a little hat.
Rush into yarn emergencies.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're here for all your yarn emergencies. But if you knit continental or English, and we don't care.
What about combined?
Yeah, don't care. Yeah, we don't care. Yeah, everyone's welcome.
And is there physically a safe space, or are you just this?
There's a safe space that's right up there. You can actually see the flag from where we are. There's some yarn up there to knit with. It's nice and quiet. It's a beautiful space. We're happy to take people up there too and just hang out with them.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
That's a fantastic sweater.
That pattern just came out yesterday. It was a test knit I just finished.
Oh wow, that's great. That's fantastic. And so, what are you wearing?
This is... Oh no, now you're putting me on the spot. It's called the Yellow Brick Rodeo
Yeah,
by Lyrical Knits.
that's beautiful. Very
Thank
nice.
you.
Very nice. dress is gorgeous, absolutely beautiful.
you.
What can you tell us about it?
It's a dress I made from Parknit's Ghost Whisperer top. So it's the top, but then I just added a skirt to it.
Oh wow!
And it's actually an upcoming pattern of hers too that I tested.
That is gorgeous.
Thank you.
And you are?
I'm Kate.
Kate.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
That's beautiful.
I better get the whole dress.
Thank you.
And how do you say your name again? Because I might have missed it.
Kate. I'm Kate. Kate's Tangled String on Instagram.
I love your shawl. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
So, who are you, and who is the designer?
My name is Crystal Stedman. I live in Guelph. This is the Kiowa shawl by, I think it's Tabitha, and I cannot remember her last name. But she does design for Sweet Georgia, and that's the bow. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful.
So it's one of their soft blanks, and then one of their just a contrast color in mango ice because I like mangoes.
And the sparkles.
And it sparkles, yes. So I went with the, I think it's the Cash Luxe, so it's also cashmere.
Oh, it's. Oh, am I allowed to touch it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. It's
Have a
great
great
to see
show.
you. Yes,
Yep,
thanks.
likewise.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, I said, here's Cindy. We ran into Cindy at Romney Yarns just a couple of days ago, and it's her birthday, or it was her birthday yesterday.
Yes, yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, and now on the government payroll.
And we said, oh, we'll see you at the Kitchener Fibre Festival. And I said, well, if you see me first, you say hello. So thank you, Cindy.
Thank you. Thank you. And continue on with your history lessons with the sheep and the cooking.
And the cooking?
Yep.
Okay.
I love it.
Thank you, Cindy.
You take care then.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. No, we're here to shop.
It's fun for change, right?
It is. Yeah.